Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to another Wotv Weekly where I'm on the wrong screen to start this off. Today, the end of basically the second week, well, mostly, of the Final Fantasy VIII collaboration, and while we are still effectively waiting for the last little bit of the collaboration, I do want to use this Wotv Weekly to talk about what it's been like. The good points, the bad points, where the lie of the land is, and of course, the surprise unit that came out of this week, who is looking pretty darn good. So, with a bunch of things to talk about today, we're just going to get right into it. And I have a gremlin at my feet. Excellent. So, today, let's start off with the thing that I think is not really a over surprise at this point, but I am just going to finally address it, which is Squall. Squall is a character that I wanted to be really good for a ton of reasons. Like, he's, one of the characters that I know the best from, like, just Final Fantasy history. FF8 was one of my first Final Fantasies I ever played. I love that game to death. I still play it through regularly, full playthroughs no less, because it's just people criticize it for being like, hey, you can exploit the game, but to me that's kind of a sign that you know what the game is and how to master it. So yeah, I really love FF8 a ton, and I wanted Squall to be really good, but here's the thing. Squall is essentially only as good as the lightning element will ever be, and while he is not an amazing unit, I'm not going to go so far in this video to say that he's a bad unit. I'm going to say that at this point, basically, unless the accessory incredibly gives him a massive boost, which is possible, it is always possible that this could happen. Basically, Squall at this point is DOA, like just not good enough for a modern 100 cost unit. 100 cost units require so much resources to build and to make. And why are you chewing my USB cable? Okay, well, we're having a special guest in the middle of this video, everyone. I've been waiting to talk about this little guy. This is my new little friend, Sora. And he is just wandering around on the floor chewing my USB cable. So say hello, Sora. Say hello to YouTube. Thanks so much for dropping by. Off you go. Go kill your mom. All right, so now I'm going to try not to roll over the cat's paws with my chair, because that is always a danger. Squall just isn't good enough to be a 100 cost character. He is absolutely like from years ago, and I don't know if it's just because they really felt like this was just like lightning was already too good, because you look at everything recently on JP and it's been a course correction against Strike, and Soul is a major course correction against Strike, and he is up on now. Oh my goodness, the gremlins are everywhere. Squall just doesn't felt so conservative that he's like, people call him bad, and he isn't bad. He's actually a pretty capable character, but capable is not what you want from a 100 cost. You want 100 costs to be amazing because the amount of resources they potentially get and to build and everything like that, because they're supposed to be showstoppers, and that's just not what he is. And that's what, at this rate, it doesn't look like he will ever be. And that's a huge problem, because Squall to me is the worst thing possible. Boring. He is essentially standard and okay and fine, but that's where essentially the story stops. And it's just blah. And that brings us to the next character I need to talk about, which I clicked on the wrong thing, but we'll get there, is Irving, who Irving came out this week, and once again, you look at his kit and everything, and he's a perfectly competent character. I want to get that right out of the way right now. I think that Irving is an absolutely perfectly fine character and actually borders more on just being pretty good for a 90 cost character. But for what I've seen so far, for what he brings to Dark from matchups that I've seen, it just seems, again, okay. Not amazing, not bad, not great, just okay. And to me, once again, this is another unit that just doesn't quite make the grade, but gets more of a pass because generally, A, he is built better. B, he does bring something new to Dark that I think works, which is a follow-up attack, kind of Bart style. And the last thing, and the most important thing, is that he's a 90 cost as opposed to 100 cost. So the just theoretical cost of this unit on average is way lower than Squall because of the way rates work in this game, which is to say bullshit. So yes, those are two FF8 units out of the way. And now we're going to talk about the one amazing unit, which is this girl. As it turns out, I'm pretty much calling it at this point that Renault is by far the best unit. 90 cost, free to get for the first one, and essentially just a discount Velas without being a discount Velas. I actually think that she's a ton of fun. Like Bart's, fairly flexible, and one of the, a lot of times with Bart's and whatnot, and these characters like Titus that we get for free, they're offense characters. Yeah, they have some support skills, of course, and some things that can make other units better. But at the end of the day, they really do come across as just offensive characters a lot of the time. So Renault being free and being a really good support character with some healing, some buffs, and some awesome magic attacks is just kind of, at the end of the day, a great thing. I think that overall, without some massive changes for it coming to global/worldwide, FF8 is probably just a Renault for 90% of the player base, as Squall would need a massive overhaul to be good enough to be a modern 100 cost character, which is weird that I'm saying he's born in just okay to say that he needs a massive one, but once again, Global will course correct harder than JP and earlier, meaning Bridal Elia will be generally less better by the time she comes out. And at this, she'll just be not as crazy as she was on JP. But anyway, Renault is my final recommendation. I don't even necessarily recommend the Lightning BC that much unless you're really looking like you missed out on the FF7 Lightning BC and a few other Lightning BCs. That's the only reason I recommend the Seed BC. And the Irving BC, the Gunner BC, basically if you want to run a range team, that's the only reason that I would say that you'd need that one. So all of that is conditional. And then we get to talk about the one really bright spot of this week, which, I mean, I guess if we're just going to talk about this character being really good, if there was any character to come out of this smelling like a rose, I guess it was always going to be Soul, because he is an FFBE character, which means that, the devs are a little more potentially biased to making FFBE and Wotv characters generally better. And other story characters are potentially going to even be better than this guy is. But this guy, for JP players, is pretty massive. And with the combination of Shulls, the healer from a couple of weeks ago on JP, kind of a really good combination together. Not even necessarily with a tank. This guy is just pretty good at potentially being a force to be reckoned with some cool animations and everything to boot on top of it. So yeah, Soul is ironically the best thing I think to come out of the FF8. If it wasn't for Renault, because Renault's first copy is free and that automatically is way better. But yeah, Soul is the one that I think, if you were to want to pull for a character, this is the one to get, because pretty great looking design. The art style here works fantastic with him. He's got an interesting kit. It's not fire evasion, which I like. It's doing something a little bit different, which is fun. Non-attribute limit burst. attack and heal at the same time, powerful buffs against strike and physical attacks. All of these things just kind of make Soul the best FF8 unit in a way, I guess, if they were all. So that's the end of a recap for this week. JP kind of just generally a little bit quieter this week, and that's fine because, you know, with this coming up and probably another 90 cost vision card, as I would assume, like Soul is getting an Esper. There's definitely an unknown VC on the list of bonuses, so that one is going. I mean, maybe it's a 70 cost VC Esper combo, but I feel like they want to fleece people out of more resources. And a friendly reminder for anyone who's like super gung-ho on Soul, very, very good chance that if there ever is any kind of bonuses, he will get bonuses in the future, and probably will be easier to get on a select banner closer to the 4th anniversary in November. So remember that, and hope this has helped you out. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll have a good week this week. See ya.